children will be reporting.
All right, welcome back to the breakfast show. Sorry, guys. You know what? We were just having a chat with our guests, and they're going to talk a little bit about a really cool Facebook page or group they've set up. You know, Facebook is very, very popular. We all know that here in Malaysia. Malaysians are known to have the most friends on Facebook. Do you know that 90% of Malaysians out there choose Facebook as their first choice when it comes to social networking? And now it's used with for many reasons. You know, to keep in touch with old friends.
That's
it's
right.
a place to also discuss common interests like like music or money too, if that's your thing, movies. But it's also a place to highlight social issues and also relevant topics that are, about relevant topics for the youth today.
Doing just this is a FB group very exclusively set up for youths, which focus on encouraging them to be involved in active discussions about their rights and human rights as well. Now, set up by the NGO Knowing Children, the group opens communication channels between the UN Committee and of the rights of children and Malaysian youths.
Now, joining us today to talk about this group is the advisor in program development of Knowing Children, Judith Ennew, and also a group member. We've got Tim Koh with us. Good morning, Judith. Good morning, Tim.
Good morning.
Thank you so much for joining us here today. Yes. So this is actually quite interesting, this group that's been set up. Now, tell us a little bit more. So this group has been set up by Knowing Children.
That's right.
What actually made you want to use probably Facebook as the plan? What was the objective, actually?
Well, children all over the world are reporting increasingly to the Committee on the Rights of the Child at the same time as governments are. And the committee has actually encouraged every country to have a report from children, because children only know.
Yeah.
They know more about their childhoods than adults do.
So now every year governments will actually come up with reports to the Committee of the Rights of the Child on the situation and the issues also faced by the youth in their country. So this is the first time that Malaysia will be having a report from the kids, right?
That's right. It's the second Malaysian government report. There'll be a non-governmental report as well from civil society, and the children's report.
Okay. Well, tell us a little bit about Knowing Children. What is the role of the NGO?
Knowing Children is based on children's rights. It's also based in the South, in the global South. We are trying to get better information about children for policymakers and program makers to plan for children. So we work directly with children to get really good data, scientific data.
Right. And the Mousedeer Group, how is this set up?
Well, we were asked to facilitate the children's report in Malaysia. And the first thing we thought about was, how do we get as many children as possible involved? Because usually it's like the sons of the Prime Minister and the daughter of the Minister. We wanted to get all children with the opportunity. So we thought Facebook. I mean, where else do you go?
Yeah.
And we started with this in October. And we now got around 200 children.
Wow. And Tim, what is your role in the Mousedeer Group? I know you're quite active.
Well, recently, last week especially, we went for a camp at Knowing Children office, where we were taught how to design the survey, the questionnaire, which will be launched next Saturday.
What questionnaire is this?
It's a questionnaire based on the Convention on the Rights of the Child and the same groups of questions that the government is addressing. So, and it's going to be online for all children in Malaysia.
Is to facilitate the coming up with the report from the children.
Exactly.
So you actually are, you and how many other youths are coming up with this questionnaire?
Me and the other 8.
And 8 others. So what you're doing is you're racking your brains to come up with this questionnaire. And this questionnaire will be made available to youths all around Malaysia. And from this answer, you will actually come up with a report.
Exactly.
What's interesting, Judith, you mentioned early on that for Malaysia, not everyone still has access, especially children, access to internet, so they would probably not be able to access this survey on Facebook. But you did mention that there are other ways of getting in touch with the children who don't. And how are you going to do that?
Knowing Children has a specific way of working with children to enable them to give their opinions regardless of their education or maybe even their disability or where they live. And it includes ways that are not the usual questionnaire survey, you know, and Facebook focus group discussions and things like that, which children find really difficult.
Right.
Yeah.
So we have pictures, body maps, they do drawings, they have fun. And we're looking at 5 hard-to-reach groups here: urban at-risk children, children who are in homes and alternative care, children with disabilities, children in plantations, and Orang Asli. So we all over, all over, every state.
Now, Tim, how did you find out about the Mousedeer Group, and what actually made you want to participate in the group, and then obviously eventually be chosen as one of the 9 who are coming up with this questionnaire?
Well, actually, the Mousedeer Group, I was sort of invited from one of my close friends, David. Yeah, actually, yeah, he was in the Mousedeer Group for quite a long time, so he invited me and other friends to join as well. So when he invited me on Facebook, I was wondering, what is Mousedeer? So when I did my research, then it's like, wow, this is not something simple, so I got to get some.
So, and essentially you will be talking about the rights, the basic human rights of youths, well, all around the world, a special focus here in Malaysia. What was your understanding of that before joining Mousedeer Group?
Close to 0%.
Really?
I like an honest answer.
Thank you. So this essentially joining has actually helped increase your understanding.
Yeah, definitely. It's a really big eye-opener for me.
What shocked you the most? If you experienced that?
Well, the one that shocked me the most, that as a child, I never knew I actually had 54 rights as a child. All I thought was grow up, listen to my parents.
I know, right? Do your homework.
You have no rights. What are you talking about? But indeed, you did. And what do you think that you felt most relevant to, like out of the 54?
I think the part that I felt most relevant to was about discrimination. Yeah, as teenagers these days, they often discriminate each other because of no matter race or studies, or you're the smarter kid, I'm the jock. So
Right.
Now, there are a lot of issues, and if you read these reports, there are a lot of issues that are unique to the countries, and the issues faced by the children. What are some of the challenges faced by Malaysian youths?
Well, maybe you should
Okay,
answer
Tim,
that
what
one.
do you think of your time spent in Mousedeer? You mentioned just then discrimination is one of them. What are the other issues faced by Malaysian youths?
Other issues faced by Malaysian youths. Well, the main thing was discrimination. Others might include.
Do you think, like, currently expectations are reaching to an unrealistic point from many parties, not just parents, but society?
To do well, succeed,
Well, it's
to
a
achieve.
straight A problem.
I know, right? We're recruiting a
That's
group
the
of
streaming process.
overachievers.
And streaming, that's something the
Yeah.
children brought up very much, which is not in other countries.
Right.
Streaming meaning?
Meaning like, like you're the student with straight A's, you go to the A class.
Right.
So if you're bad, you go to the bottom class straight away.
Oh, right.
In fact, I think Singapore experienced this many years ahead of us, and yeah, they've kind of bite the bullet on that one a little bit. So I mean, but what kind of other pressures do you think the youth have to endure in 2012?
Social pressure, perhaps. Like everyone has Facebook, so normally let's say if someone were to ask, "Do you have Facebook?" Then if they don't have, they would be like panicking and stuff.
I think it's not just that. I think there's also. Would you agree? It's now to a point where how good your profile picture looks, or what kind of activities you're doing, who you're hanging out with.
It's all about it's about being cool, but but now you got to do that and
the
prove
popularity
it by your
contest has
Facebook
taken
page.
further step
How
now.
many friends you have.
Yeah, how many friends?
Now, those are some of the issues probably that are unique to this younger generation today. I mean, back in our day, it wasn't like that. But in one of the issues that does come up with this whole generation is actually safety when it comes to being online. So how do you maintain or make sure that that Mousedeer Group, you say, is exclusively for youth, 13 to 18, that there are no adults? Now, how do you make sure that the people who join the group are actually really youths, not just some adult trying to be a kid?
They are invited to join. We take a very careful view of their profile, and we also monitor. And this is adults monitoring.
Yes.
Because where children have a right to be safe, adults have a duty to make sure they're safe. and so we take this very seriously. We have online on our one of our Facebook open pages, we've got a child protection policy for parents to read, for others to read. The children also monitor what goes on. They don't do it because they're asked to. But if somebody comes on, a new child comes on and starts talking in the wrong kind of way, using inappropriate language, the other children pile in and say, you mustn't do that, you've got to use respect. That's the first thing in human rights, is respect. And that's the thing that children have really grasped.
All right. That's really fantastic. Now, this questionnaire that you just started, is it completed already?
It's in the process.
It's in the process. Now, what's the timeline like? When do you need to complete the questionnaire, have it sent to the youth of Malaysia, and then finally come up with a report?
We're having a launch this coming Saturday.
Okay.
And that will be at least, it's of the entire concept.
Yeah.
So we've got government, we've got UNICEF, we've got lots of other people coming, especially we've got lots of children coming.
Right.
And from there we will start with one cluster at a time each week being put online.
Right.
Children who come in cluster 5 can always start at 1 and go on. So we're looking for a lot of media coverage.
Right.
Every week we can give out the results. From Saturday it'll be ready in English and BM, and thereafter we will very quickly have the Tamil and Chinese versions.
Now, for this particular questionnaire, what do you hope to extract from it, especially after that it's done?
Well, we need as many as possible. Our target is 5,000, which is a very small number actually of the full 9.7 million children in Malaysia. But we are hoping for a really comprehensive set of information about what children see as their human rights in Malaysia today. And from that, the children also will be helping us to write the report from both processes. And we have a children's forum in June, late June, early July, we haven't fixed that yet, with all of our Mousedeer children, well, not all of them, but a lot of our Mousedeer children and a lot of the other children, looking at a draft which they will have written, and we've got feedback. It's a wonderful thing, internet. We'll have the feedback, and then they will write the recommendations and send the report to Geneva.
Great. That's great stuff.
Wow. Now, what will essentially be done with this report once it gets sent to Geneva? I mean, what actions will be taken if certain issues are brought up? What happens next?
What happens next is that the government report and the children's report go at the same time, and the committee then considers them at one of their sessions, which will probably be in 2013. The government will be asked to come and ask questions. They get written questions, but they also have an interface with the committee, and the children usually go as well. Not all of them, but some of them.
Okay.
And then the NGO report will be the same time, and the NGO people will go. It's a major process, and after that, the committee gives recommendations to the government.
All right, as to what needs to be changed or addressed. And this will now be a yearly thing after, will this process be repeated
Happens every
year?
5 years.
Every 5 years, I see.
Now, Tim, maybe you can share with us a little bit more about what Mousedeer Group has in store for the rest of the year, maybe some activities that you guys will be doing.
Yeah.
Well, one thing's for sure is the media launch that's coming up. And perhaps we're looking forward to more camps, perhaps, for the children to go.
Yeah, we have the analysis camp, we have the writing camp, and then we have the children's forum camp as well.
All right. And I'm sure once the report is sent in, then you guys will have the party to celebrate. Like, yay, great job, guys.
Oh, you can guarantee. You can guarantee. But also we want to follow up through, between now and the next 5 years. We want activities. That means that we will have a better report in 5 years' time. We'll have learned a lot of lessons.
That'd be quite interesting also, once the recommendations are made, probably by UNICEF, to how to address certain issues that probably were brought up by the NGOs, governments, and also the youths of the country, to see that proper steps are taken, actually, to make sure that the next 5 years, these issues were actually addressed. Do you think Mousedeer would probably act as, at the same time, not to say watchdog, but just to make sure that the rights of the child are met, are upheld?
Well, it depends on the children, what they want as the future of Mousedeer, I think.
Okay, for those who are turning 18, I don't know how old are you?
17.
All right, so in another 2 years, you're no longer a youth.
Sadly.
You'll probably come back as, you know,
an advisor.
Or an advisor.
Older children can mentor.
Yeah.
Mentor.
We learn from them, and
That's
they can form
great.
their own group.
That's excellent
Okay.
stuff. So for more information, you can actually log on to your page. It's the Mousedeer Group. .wordpress.com, and also you mentioned the launch, which is this Saturday on 25th of February. It's happening between 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. at the Studio PJ Live Arts at Jaya 1.
Anyway, we wish you all the best. It
Yeah.
looks like you have a lot of
Good
work
luck
to do
with the survey.
Survey completion, compiling, writing the report. But of course, it's all for the best of the children of Malaysia. So anyway, thank you very much.
Can we give you our Mousedeer
Oh,
badge?
thank you.
I was actually eyeing yours, and I was thinking,
I know, that's pretty cool, right?
Spread the word.
spread the word. We
gonna
shall indeed.
put
We've
it
been
on.
speaking to Judith Ennew, the advisor and program development of Knowing Children, and Tim Koh, one of the Mousedeer Group members. Thank you very much for coming on the
Thank
show.
you so much
Thank
for
you.
being on this show. Okay, with that, we're going to take another break here, but still ahead,
Yes.
we're possibly going to talk about this controversial play finally.
Yes, dear Elina Sergeyevna.